live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome tonight. President Bola Tinubu lifts emergency rule in Rivers. Governor Fubara, Deputy and State Assembly set to return this Thursday. Supreme Court throws out petition by PDP governorship candidate after withdrawal of appeal against Lucky Aiyedatiwa's election. Saudi authorities free 3 Nigerian pilgrims held over drug trafficking allegations. And British royals welcome Donald Trump and wife to Windsor Castle for opening day of state visit.
In business, WTO predicts AI will revolutionize global trade, forecast 40% growth by 2040.
On sports news tonight, Kenya's Faith Cherotich claims women's 3,000 meter steeplechase gold with a new record at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo.
And from the nation's capital, 1 missing, several houses destroyed after heavy rainfall in Yola, the Adamawa state capital.
Good news for residents of Rivers State who have waited patiently for this moment. Well, President Bola Tinubu has officially lifted the 6-month state of emergency imposed on the state on March the 18th this year. Now, in a statement signed by the president, he affirmed that the emergency rule, which ends today, September the 17th, had achieved its objectives, making any extension unnecessary. According to the president, intelligence reports reveal a renewed spirit of understanding, cooperation and commitment among stakeholders in Rivers State toward an immediate return to democratic governance. With this development, beginning September the 18th, Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Maodu, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, including Speaker Martins Amewele, will resume duties in their respective offices. The president further reminded governors and state assemblies across the country that only in an atmosphere of peace, order, and good governance can the true dividends of democracy be delivered to the people. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party's governorship candidate in Ondo State, Agbola Ajayi, challenging the election of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. But the decision followed Mr. Ajayi's formal withdrawal of his case. A 5-member panel of justices, led by Justice Inyang Okoro, also struck out separate appeals brought by the Social Democratic Party candidate Bamidele Akinboye and the Allied People's Movement candidate Ogufemi Kolawole. Now, the SDP's appeal was withdrawn in light of the death of its candidate. Our correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, has the report.
After months of legal tussle, the Supreme Court convenes to deliver judgment on who won the last Ondo governorship election. Present in court to witness the day's proceeding is Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, his supporters and counsels in the case. The People's Democratic Party in the state and its candidate, Mr. Agbola Ajayi, had filed an appeal at the Apex Court seeking to invalidate the verdict of the Court of Appeal, which dismissed his case and affirmed the election of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. The governorship candidates of the Social Democratic Party and the Allied People's Movement also withdrew their appeals at the Apex Court. The Court of Appeal sitting in Akure had affirmed the victory of the Ondo State Governor and his deputy in the November 16, 2024 governorship election. The PDP, joined by the SDP and the APM, had alleged that the election was characterized by irregularities and electoral malpractices at many polling units, which are considered non-compliant to the electoral law. However, the lower court struck out their petitions, upholding the governor's victory.
We believe that justice has prevailed, and the court has now ratified the mandate that was given to His Excellency.
all the appeals are considered frivolous and withdrawn. And I think this is the end of the journey that started from the tribunal to the Court of Appeal. And I think it's the place of the governor now to rally around everybody so that we can concentrate on good governance of Ondo State.
In response, the governor commends the candidates. He also informed the media that the PDP candidate plans to join the APC.
The opposition, well, they will do, in fact, the candidate of People Democratic Party, PDP, Honorable Agbola Ajayi, actually wrote a personal letter of withdrawal and has also pledged to support the state, support this government, and contribute in whichever way he can. In fact, he has even told me that he's coming to join APC, so I'm waiting for him to join us so that we can work together. Rest in peace.
The withdrawal of the appeals by the opposition parties finally brings to an end the tussle for the 2024 Ondo governorship election. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
Civil society organizations are calling on Nigerians to familiarize themselves with the provisions of the Electoral Act in order to better understand the responsibilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. This appeal was the central theme of discussions at a town hall meeting on electoral reforms organized by the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, held in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital.
Traditional rulers, members of civil society organizations and security operatives gather for this citizens' town hall meeting on electoral reforms as part of efforts to prepare Nigerians for the 2027 general elections. The meeting aims to ensure a deeper understanding of the Electoral Act, especially in view of the latest amendments. Speakers at the event highlight steps that should be taken to ensure success in future elections.
It's essential to appreciate the critical role of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as the primary electoral management body. Their commitment to transparency, impartiality, and professionalism is vital in building trust and confidence in our electoral process.
It's our responsibility to protect election material. It's also our responsibility to escort election material from INEC office to polling unit. It is also our responsibility to escort the results from various polling units to INEC office.
However, the Kwara State Resident Electoral Commissioner highlights aspects of the Electoral Act that will improve the electoral process in the country.
The Act requires political parties to conduct primaries early, providing more time for campaigns and creating a level playing field for opposition parties. That is Section 29 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended.
The lack of understanding of the legal regime with which elections are conducted has been responsible for some of the falsehood. Some people call it now misrepresentation and all of those things that we see. So we are bridging that gap. It's been humbling to really find the level of lack of understanding around the electoral process, and we are hoping to use this mechanism to bridge that gap.
The participants are optimistic that the town hall will enlighten and educate the people on their responsibilities ahead of future elections.
So, 3 Nigerians accused of drug trafficking in Saudi Arabia have been released by the country's authorities, bringing relief to the individuals and their families. The announcement was made in Abuja by the Director of Media and Advocacy of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, during a news conference. According to Mr. Babafemi, their release followed high-level engagements between the NDLEA and the Saudi government.
The 3 persons affected by this dastardly act, like we informed you before, Mrs. Maria Hussein Abdullahi, Mrs. Abdullahi Bahija Aminu, and Mr. Abdul Hamid Sadiq. You will also recall that to unravel the true facts of the cases, the Chairmanship Executive Officer of the agency caused an investigation to be conducted into the cases, the outcome of which revealed that a syndicate operating at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, that is Makia, had tagged bags containing illicit drugs with the names of the 3 unsuspecting Nigerians who were later arrested in Saudi for alleged drug trafficking. We are therefore happy to inform you that following the series of engagements, one of the 3 Nigerians was released from custody on Sunday, the 14th September, and the remaining 2 on Monday, 15th September 2025, just 2 days ago. The probe led to the arrest, that is, all our efforts thereafter, led to the arrest of 55-year-old drug kingpin Mohammed Ali Abubakar, alias Bello Karama, and 3 other members of the syndicate, including the airline officials behind the shipment of the illicit substances for which the 3 innocent Nigerians were arrested and detained in Jeddah.
Nearly 24 hours after the fire outbreak at Afriland Towers on Lagos Island, at least 10 people have been confirmed dead. In the aftermath of the inferno, all that remains of the once bustling business hub is a stretch of charred rubble and twisted metal. Our correspondent Chris Lems reports.
About 1:35 p.m. on Tuesday, 16 September 2025, a fire incident is reported on Lagos Island. It's the Afriland Towers along Broad Street, the heart of Lagos Business District. The Lagos Fire and Rescue Service reported that the fire originated from the inverter room located at the basement of the building. In this video, occupants of the buildings are saying certain ways of escape, including jumping from the windows. Injuries are reported, and so also are some unconfirmed number of fatalities.
I'm in Taiwo A like this. The heat alone. People are trying their possible best.
By 7:30 p.m., just a few meters from the Afriland Towers, another fire incident is reported at the Central Plaza, close to Mandela's building. Some of the traders attributed the incident to power source changeover. The day after, calm has returned to Afriland, but there is a heavy presence of firefighters along the corridor as the air is still thick with the scent of burnt materials. At the Central Plaza, the buildings are still smoldering, and firefighters are battling the remains of the flame that turned a vibrant community where business once stood to one contending with losses and uncertainties.
We don't know if it happens to be a mistake from someone, but we just saw a flame up there, and we rushed there. So when we got there, we realized we can't control it.
The faces of the traders tell it all, as sections of the affected buildings are completely cordoned off, considering that their structural integrity may have been compromised. The people tell their tales.
A market like this needs fire posts in the market, not outside the market. Because in advanced countries where you see this kind of thing, they need a step-by section, immediate fire post.
There is need for the government and for relevant authorities to begin to look into the issue of fire incident right at the heart of the commercial nerve center of Lagos State. From the Central Plaza right here on Lagos Island, Chris Lems, Channels Television News.
In part 2 after the break, One missing, several houses destroyed after heavy rainfall in Yola, the Adamawa state capital. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu lifts emergency rule in Rivers. Governor Fubara, Deputy and State Assembly set to return this Thursday. Supreme Court throws out petition by PDP governorship candidate after withdrawal of appeal against Lucky Aiyedatiwa's election. Saudi authorities free 3 Nigerian pilgrims held over drug trafficking allegations. And British royals welcome US President Donald Trump and wife to Windsor Castle for opening day of state visit. Detectives from the State Criminal Investigation Department have detained 10 suspects in connection with the death of former Social Democratic Party governorship candidate in Ondo State, Mr. Bamidele Akinboye. Those in custody include his wife, 4 children, and 5 other persons of interest. A reliable police source disclosed that the latest arrest followed a scientific investigation by detectives. However, the command says an autopsy was conducted on September the 11th, with specimens collected for further analysis. Earlier, Channels Television had an exclusive interview at the crime scene with members of the family who expressed confidence that the police would carry out a thorough investigation. Mr. Akinboye died under unclear circumstances on September the 3rd, with his body discovered in his backyard. His eldest son, Samuel Akinboye, has since called for an in-depth probe to unravel the mystery surrounding his father's death. Right, so let's head to the nation's capital now, and Millicent Walker is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Millicent.
Hi, Ayotunde. Well, we begin here in Adamawa State, where more than 1,000 houses have been destroyed in Yola, the state capital, following a heavy downpour that has left 1 person missing. The Director of Operations at the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Mr. Ayuba Ladan, confirmed the developments to Channels Television. He added that the flooding affected several communities across the state capital.
The heavy downpour started in the early hours of the day, leading to flood in parts of Yola, the Adamawa state capital. Farmlands were washed away as the flood destroyed some houses and submerged others. In an attempt to reclaim their homes, flood victims scoop water out of their houses. Some of the victims narrate their ordeal, calling on the government to urgently come to their aid. They blame the flooding on the dumping of refuse into drainage systems and the construction of buildings on waterways.
The rain is too much. Even our room, there is not any space. Everything in the room is fall down, and all water scatter is all everywhere. That's why since 6 we are here, we sit outside.
If there could be more drainage in this vicinity, and also where those debris are, because I found out that in those areas where the canals can't move, there were debris that serve as blockage that couldn't allow the water pass through. If there could be regulations where the government can actually put in no dumping of refuse in canals or in some certain areas, it could actually help. And also creating drainage in some areas, like I said.
Responding to the distress call, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, mobilized some agencies to the affected areas to conduct rescue operations.
The impact is devastating.
The Director of Operations at the agency, Mr. Ayuba Ladan, gives an update on the situation, giving a report of the impact assessment.
The impact is devastating, and I can say people really, especially those living along the flood-prone areas really suffer it in this particular community. We have about 2 people that sustained injury and are receiving treatment in the hospital. 1 person is missing. We have about 56 houses completely destroyed.
The agency is appealing to residents living in flood-prone areas to relocate to safer grounds to prevent further destruction of communities by the impending flood.
Well, staying with those of flood-prone areas, despite warnings from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and a relocation order issued by the Ogun State government for residents in those areas to move to higher grounds, reactions among residents have remained mixed. While some residents expressed willingness to comply with the directive, others have questioned the rationale behind it.
According to the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, Ogun State is expected to witness downpour in the next couple of days, a situation which will adversely affect residents in areas especially along the floodplains. The water level is expected to rise about 204 millimeters in the month of September, 190 millimeters in October, and 93 millimeters in the month of November, as a result of heavy rains as well as the gradual and systematic release of water from the Oya Dam. This may be compounded by indiscriminate dumping of refuse into drainages and canals by residents. But how prepared are residents for the mitigating effects of this natural disaster?
When there's rain like that, many things is happening around. There's flood, but we are preparing anyway. Our children, we caution them. So by that, we are preparing by His grace.
To my own view, people are not ready for it because, as you can see, if they are ready for it, you will see some places that they are doing work there or they are cleaning some environment.
Others question the rationale for relocation to higher grounds as instructed by the state government, citing the current economic realities which has continued to negatively affect families' means of livelihood, especially in recent times.
When you look at the situation of the country, it cannot just come to somebody and tell him to pack where he's living without providing a place for him. So if the government wants those people to live, they should provide somewhere for them to go and stay. It's not just going to tell them to live where they are living. Because not everybody has money to go and rent house now. Because things are very, very hard.
For a person to live where he's living, as maybe telling him to come this morning and tomorrow that he's going to pack, it's going to be hard. Because but even living here, going to another place, you don't know the particular what you're going to meet there. Okay, look at houses now. I believe many have packed because they are near where they are flood. We just enter their place. So telling people like us now to park where we just rented, no, it's not fair.
Going forward, the expectation is that there must be intentional attitudinal change and abuse of the environment among residents so as to mitigate this perennial challenge and natural occurrence. There's also the need for authorities to discourage building of houses and structures on floodplains, among other factors which cause flood disaster.
To other stories, the Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani is assuring residents that no project initiated by his administration will be abandoned and that contractors will be fully paid upon completing their projects. The governor gave the assurance while flagging off the construction of Rigasa Township Road in Igabi Local Government Area and Zango Road in Tudunwada, Kaduna South Local Government Area. He explains that the projects are designed to ease traffic congestion, improve access to markets and public facilities in the two densely populated communities.
Hundreds of residents of Rigasa, the most populous ward in Kaduna State, troop out to welcome Governor Uba Sani, who is in the community to flag off the construction of 3 road projects.
We are not surprised with what you brought to us because we have not forgotten about the hospital you built for our community, which was recognized nationwide. Where single road projects were given to communities, Rigasa got 4 road networks. May God keep you, Your Excellency, in the coming election in 2027. You are a candidate and you will get 200,000 votes because of what you are doing for this local government.
The governor considers the road project as an indication of the commitment of his administration to delivering people-oriented infrastructure across the state.
My presence here is in furtherance of my administration's commitment to the welfare of our citizens, especially the poor, vulnerable, and underserved. We have been unrelenting in addressing infrastructure gaps in areas inhabited by urban poor. Negasa is one of the largest and most populous wards in Nigeria.
The governor then flags off the construction amid cheers from the residents. Governor Sani was also in Tudunwada in Kaduna South local government, where he flagged off the construction of the Zango Road, a major link road in the community. Despite its proximity to the Kaduna state seat of power, Tudunwada community has suffered from long years of infrastructural neglect from previous administrations. However, the switching on of the bulldozer by Governor Obasani is considered the end of their nightmare.
And understand and share in the pain of the inhabitants of this area who have suffered neglect for decades. There is very little road infrastructure in this area as we have seen today.
Governor Sani is assuring that his administration will continue to prioritize infrastructure development across the state, with special attention to roads that directly impact the lives of the citizens.
Still ahead on the news at 10, it's huge. WTO predicts AI will revolutionize global trade, forecasts 40% growth by 2040. That's all coming up on Business News. To join us again.
Welcome back. The Real Estate Stakeholders Forum 2025 has convened a landmark gathering of influential voices in the sector aimed at unifying industry concerns, addressing key challenges, and presenting actionable recommendations to drive sustainable growth. With the theme expressing and articulating real estate developers and investors' concerns in Lagos State, the forum provided a platform for developers, investors, and policymakers to engage on pressing issues confronting the industry.
The Real Estate Stakeholders Forum 2025 is on a mission to chart a new course for housing and investment reforms in Lagos as it brings together leading developers, investors, policymakers, financial institutions, and allied professionals to address Nigeria's housing and investment challenges. First things first, a news conference sets the tone for discussions on the need to urgently tackle sectoral concerns. In his keynote address, the director of the Center for Housing and Sustainable Development, University of Lagos, Professor Timothy Nubi, emphasizes the need for a merger of private sector innovation and public sector vision.
As the city strives to become one of the most vibrant and prosperous in the world, collaboration between public and private is essential. If our leaders should pay attention to real estate, Africa will become the fastest growing economy in the world.
Speakers at the panel session make a case for a future that reimagines urban regulation for growth and compliance, especially affordability. Housing development advocate Festus Adebayo believes there's a need to professionalize the real estate sector.
We're calling on the government, the federal government, the state government of Nigeria, to build more political will in housing Nigerians. They should repeat what they are doing in Lagos-Calabar Expressway. You can give incentive in the area of infrastructure.
Later, participants unanimously adopt the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria to champion the cause of stakeholders by presenting a jointly issued communique to the government.
I believe that our sector will be better off if everything recommended in this community is implemented.
If we have a forum like this, that we can sit down, one-on-one with the government. We hear their side, very importantly, they hear our side as well. I think it's going to all go very well for the industry.
The forum closes with renewed optimism in the association's capacity to coordinate follow-up engagements and draw the attention of policymakers to walk towards a more inclusive, innovative, and investment-friendly real estate ecosystem.
Global card company Visa has introduced its Affluent Rewards program in Nigeria, offering premium cardholders access to exclusive lifestyle benefits and experiences. This initiative, unveiled at a special dining event in Lagos, underscores Visa's commitment to deepening customer relationships beyond everyday transactions.
Tonight I might fall in love.
It's an evening of fine dining, elegance, and connection in Lagos as Visa unveils a first-of-its-kind offering for its premium cardholders in Nigeria. The new Visa Affluent Rewards program brings luxury closer to home with curated local rewards, exclusive privileges, and lifestyle benefits tailored for Nigerians.
We know a lot of our clients, a lot of our partners are investing seriously in terms of how they reward their cardholders, particularly their affluent cardholders. And we've made it a little more easier for you to be able to give those kind of value to your cardholders with what we're doing today.
A round of applause for him. Thank you.
From fine dining to high-end fashion, spa retreats and staycations, Visa says the program is designed to meet the growing demand for premium benefits that are both personal and locally relevant.
We want to touch the affluence. We want to touch the customers who travel, who spend not only outside but also inside of the country, and want to provide them beautiful experiences. We are going to do that together, and today you will learn about the beautiful experiences we've crafted, the partnerships that we've made for our customers, for your clients, for your customers, and how they're going to enjoy them.
The program is open to holders of Visa Infinite, Visa Signature, and Visa Platinum cards, and enrollment through Visa's dedicated website.
The affluent offers that we are launching today is basically to bring some of those offers that you would typically find when you travel abroad, bringing them home. So what that means is that whether you're anytime you're shopping in your favorite location, or you want to take a spa, or you want to go and eat in your favorite restaurant, you can be sure that Visa has got you covered in terms of discounts that you typically will be getting from this for these merchants. This complements what the banks do from a private banking standpoint, because some banks have already built their own platform, but this is just an additional layer that we are providing, not just only to the banks that have those infrastructure in place, but for those that have not been able to build that infrastructure.
Visa emphasizes that it's not just transactional but relational by creating experiences that resonate locally. The global payment giant aims to make premium spending more rewarding and set a new benchmark for cardholder benefits in Nigeria.
Business News is up next with Will Ibom.
Thank you, Ayotunde. On the World Trade Organization, WTO says artificial intelligence could raise global trade by nearly 40% and boost world GDP by 13% by 2040. However, it warns the benefits depend on bridging the digital divide, investing in skills, and keeping markets open. Developing nations could see incomes rise by up to 15% if they expand digital infrastructure. WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala says AI offers vast opportunities, but access is uneven, and without the right policies, inequality could deepen. Now, Nigeria's presidential fertilizer initiative is ramping up supplies to strengthen food security. Now, in 2025 alone, 10 vessels have delivered over 560,000 metric tons of raw materials, more than the total secured last year. The scheme has produced over 128 million bags of fertilizer since inception and now powers 90 blending plants nationwide. A new phase, PFI 3.0, begins in November under the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, focusing on year-round availability, lower cost, and increased local sourcing. Let's take a trip outside our shores. Ghana's central bank surprised markets on Wednesday by cutting its key interest rate by 350 basis points, bringing it down to 21.5%, a bigger cut than the 200-point drop analysts had expected. Governor Johnson Asiama says the move reflects continued disinflation, with inflation already falling to 11.5% in August, is lowest since October 2021, and projected to reach the medium-term target of 6 to 10% range by end of year. Now, the dramatic cut follows the previous 300 basis point reduction in July, meaning Ghana has eased policy by 650 basis points over 2 consecutive meetings. Analysts say this could help stimulate growth and ease borrowing costs if inflation continues to drop. Back home in financial news, Nigerian investment firm Kaduna Securities has been named Africa's Best Broker 2025 by the prestigious Euromoney Capital Markets Awards. The recognition places the Nigerian firm among the continent's top performers and highlights its growing influence in shaping Africa's investment landscape. It comes on the back of Cardinal Stone's earlier win as Best Equities House in Nigeria, the 2024 Euromoney Securities Houses Awards, proof of its consistency and excellence. For 3 straight years, the firm has ranked as Nigeria's leading stockbroker by both volume and value traded. Now, between January and August this year alone, it executed transactions worth over 800 billion naira, trading more than 27 billion shares on the Nigerian exchange. And the Euromoney Awards celebrates innovation, client focus, and leadership across global markets. Industry watchers say Cardinal Stone's latest win reflects not just its strong track record, but also the resilience of Nigeria's capital markets and the rising profile of African firms internationally. Now, with this recognition, Cardinal Stone strengthens its reputation as a trusted partner for investors and a key player driving growth and opportunity in Africa's evolving financial markets. And with that, we delve into the equities market and see how they performed today. It rebounded in today's session. Here's Laddie Williams with the details.
The Nigerian stock market staged a rebound today, swinging from a slightly negative close yesterday to post a 0.35% gain as renewed buy interest in bellwether stocks that lifted the all-share index back into positive territory and backed up here 142,036. That's for the all-share index after staying below the 140,000 level for a while and gained back to 141. But now we're at 142,000, and we see the sectors now that we track. That's for the banking counter there, even though we see First Holdco did close in the green today, but that's now 0.16%, countered by the losses with Zenith Bank and some other Tier 1 banks. Then we see the brewers there taking the consumer goods counter up, likes of Guinness, Nigeria, Champions Brewery adding to the share price. Then oil and gas, Aradale, that added to the share price today and was the most traded stock, and that bumped up the oil and gas counter 2.59% today. Then we see Dangote Cement, the market mover. We know the Dangote Group, they've been in the news a lot this season, mostly about the refinery, and maybe that's rubbing off on the cement business there. They did add to share price 516 naira 20 kobo to close. It's a negative market breadth with 25 stocks gaining while 31 stocks posted losses.
And with the U.S. Fed cutting interest rate for the first time this year, let's see the snapshot of closing numbers for that equity and other major global equities markets. And that's business news. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Will. U.S. President Donald Trump has been a few hours in the United Kingdom, meeting with King Charles at Windsor. Now, the royals and the Trumps are expected to exchange gifts after lunch. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international news in Around the World at 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. King Charles has welcomed Donald Trump to Windsor with a carriage procession and guard of honour. The monarch and US President shared a coach, while Queen Camilla and First Lady Melania Trump followed behind in another. There was then a guard of honour for Mr. Trump and the King to inspect at Windsor Castle. The ceremonial arrival had more troops, flags and military bands than previous ones, a performance of royal soft power to please a president. Earlier, Mr. Trump travelled to Windsor on Marine One and was greeted off the helicopter by Prince William and Catherine. Across London, large anti-Trump protests gathered for demonstrations. This one organised by the Stop Trump UK coalition, a group of more than 50 campaign organisations, including climate, anti-racism and pro-Palestinian activists. Meanwhile, 4 people were arrested after images of Trump and the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein were projected onto Windsor Castle.
I think the optics of a state visit are very important to President Trump. This is the first one, you know, he loved the pomp and ceremony of it, the pageantry. He loved being with the monarchy and the Queen and all of that. And I think he's definitely got a big focus on that this time around, especially because he's facing a few domestic issues at home with the Epstein file issue, and now wants to move on from that and use some of that pomp and ceremony to advance his narrative.
This will be a major flashpoint, most likely in these conversations and in the days ahead, about the right path forward on Gaza. The UK has some leverage here, and it may choose to play it wisely to try to tease out from the United States what its viable, concrete plan is to move towards an end to conflict.
The wife of the late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has said he was killed by poisoning while serving a prison sentence in an Arctic penal colony in 2024.
In February 2024, we were able to obtain samples of Alexei's biological material.
In a video shared on social media, Yulia Navalny said analysis of smuggled biological samples carried out by laboratories in 2 countries showed that her husband had been murdered. She did not provide details on the poison allegedly used or the samples of the analysis, but challenged the 2 laboratories to publish their results. Navalny, an anti-corruption campaigner and Russia's most vociferous opposition leader, died suddenly in jail on the 16th of February 2024 at the age of 47. The prime suspect in the high-profile case of Madeleine McCann's disappearance has been released from prison in Germany, where he was serving a sentence for an unrelated offence. Christian Bruckner was driven out in a black Audi by his lawyer with a police escort shortly after 9 a.m. local time. Bruckner wasn't visible in the car, but police confirmed he had left the prison. He had been convicted of raping a 72-year-old American woman in Portugal in 2005 and will be fitted with an ankle tag after his release from prison. The German national has never been charged with any crime in relation to the McCann case and denies any involvement. Mali's military government has sought to calm anger over a blockade by Islamist militants on major highways where lorry drivers have been facing ambushes and arson attacks. In a rare acknowledgement of the seriousness of the situation affecting the landlocked country, Prime Minister Abdoulaye Maïga said the authorities were trying to improve security on the routes. The blockade, a potentially serious escalation of Mali's long-running jihadist insurgency, is particularly affecting the supply of fuel, which could cripple the country. And CCTV footage has captured the moment a bear entered a Hindu temple in Ooty, a town in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Around midnight, it entered the temple premises and managed to open a glass window in the temple office to get inside. However, finding no food, it left the temple without any tasty treats. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Kenya's Faith Cherotich has upstaged world and Olympic champion Wilfred Yavi to win the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. The 21-year-old sprinted away to win in a championship record of 8 minutes 51.59 seconds, finishing almost 5 seconds clear of Yavi on 8 minutes 56.46 seconds. Ethiopia's Sembo Amayu took bronze in a personal best of 8 minutes 58.86 seconds. Staying at the competition, Portugal's Isaac Dadera has outsprinted Britain's Jake Whitman to claim a surprise gold in the men's 1,500 meters in Tokyo. The 26-year-old produced a devastating attack in the home straight to snatch victory in 3 minutes 34.10 seconds, 2/100ths of a second ahead of Whitman. Kenya's Ronald Cheroit took bronze in 3 minutes 34.25 seconds. Now to other stories now in the Champions League, where 10-man Paphos produced a disciplined display to claim a hard-fought draw on their Champions League debut at Olympiacos. Elsewhere, Sondra Fitz 90th minutes equalizer earned Champions League debutant Bodo Glimt's a battling point to Slavia Prague after being 2 goals down. In other matches, Marcus Thuram scored either side of half-time as Inter Milan cruised to a comfortable 2-0 victory over Ajax at the Johan Cruyff Arena. England striker Harry Kane exploited error-prone Chelsea to score twice in Bayern Munich's 3-1 win, while Liverpool delivered another dramatic late twist as they opened their campaign with a 3-2 victory over Atletico Madrid. And holders PSG made the perfect start to the defense of their title with an emphatic 4-0 win against Atalanta. That's so open does it for us here on Sports. Thanks indeed for watching. I am Kelly Giga. It's back to you today.
And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu has lifted the emergency rule in Rivers. Governor Fubara, his deputy, and State Assembly is set to return on Thursday, September the 18th. And the Supreme Court has thrown out the petition by the Ondo PDP governorship candidate Agbola Ajayi after withdrawal of appeal against Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa's election. And that's the news at 10. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. And to have a good night.